So a lot of people right now who are talking about Michelle Obama's recent message when she spoke at the presidential center opening, that her message about her husband went viral because they like Barack Obama or because they like Michelle Obama. I don't think that's why it went viral. I think that we've become a culture that knows really well how to criticize, but we have totally forgotten how to admire. Yeah, if you think about it, we are so comfortable making fun of people or pointing out mistakes. We're comfortable with tearing apart politicians, especially probably politicians and celebrities, gossiping about their lifestyles, or even our neighbors or family members and ourselves. Actually, probably especially ourselves. We're totally critical about that. And we become so accustomed to connecting with each other that way. Like that's our currency to connect with other people, through sarcasm and criticism and fault finding. That when someone stands in front of millions of people, literally, and simply says, I value this person. This is what I respect. This is what I love about this human being. It totally stops us in our tracks. And it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat or anything in between, or what, black or white, whatever your skin color is, or your gender, or whatever age you are. That's not what people are responding to. It's something deeper. Something is resonating that's really very, very, very human, I'm going to say. And that's what I want to talk about today. Hi, welcome back. I'm Leezá Steindorf, and I work with leaders and individuals on communication, conflict, human behavior, and relationship. And if this kind of content is useful to you, if you find it interesting, go ahead and like the video, subscribe, and leave your thoughts below. There's a super community that's growing here with really interesting ideas, and it's an opportunity to share with one another in a very different way. So let's talk about what actually happened, right? The facts. So Michelle Obama stood in front of this audience, and she opened up her talk by speaking about her husband. And she didn't start with his policies or his title or any of his accomplishments. She spoke about his character and his values and what kind of man she sees him as. And what struck me wasn't exactly what she said. It was that she was willing to say it at all, and that's how she opened actually her entire talk. Because genuine admiration has become surprisingly rare. Like, you may like people, you might love people, but to admire them, especially publicly, like we've built an entire culture around identifying what's wrong, like pointing at the wound. Turn on the news, go through your social media, listen to any political commentary. Again, it doesn't matter what part of the spectrum you're on. Reality television, same thing. Listen to the comedians that we tune into. Much of what they talk about, if not all of it, I'm going to say, is built on ridicule, on criticism, on mocking people or exposing them and becoming outraged by it and finding fault. Like there's this frenzy of it. And here's what I find fascinating. When that's the water that we're constantly swimming in, when it's like around us everywhere, we stop noticing it. Like that becomes our norm. And maybe you're not doing it specifically, but that's what you come to expect or you've just simply gotten used to it. And we begin to assume that's how adults relate to each other. Not only adults, youth as well, especially if you look at our art, music, movies. And we begin to think that that's intelligence. Like that's how intelligence expresses itself. And I'm going to tell you, all that comes at a super high cost, because with time, we lose our ability or our tuning fork for goodness. And it's not because the goodness disappears. We simply stop looking for it, or I'm going to say we stop expecting it. We start to doubt that it's even there. Yeah? And if we stop expecting it or speaking about it, then our relationships get super impacted by that, right? Because something starts to erode. We're not looking for and resonating with the goodness in the relationships that we have. And human beings are not meant to thrive on criticism. Like that just doesn't make sense. It can be destructive if it's not factual and constructive. We need to know that we matter. We need to know that our efforts, what we're bringing to the table matters, and that and that someone sees us. And then the moment actually that I think fascinated me the most was at the beginning when Michelle Obama looks at her husband. She says, "Look at me." And he laughed. He shook his head. He's like, "No, I'm going to look down." Now think about who we're talking about. This is a former president, like a global leader. He's respected by millions. And in that moment, he looked exactly like every other human being who's ever been uncomfortable receiving genuine appreciation. Because most of us are very uncomfortable receiving genuine appreciation, right? We know how to receive criticism, even if it's uncomfortable. We have had decades of practicing that. And we've gotten super good at defending ourselves and justifying ourselves. Like we have these patterns. We know how to explain things away. But many of us have no idea how to simply receive acknowledgement because it happens so rarely. And if it does happen, we don't let it land. To let someone tell us what they value about us without deflecting or minimizing or joking it away or changing the subject. And that's because we've been trained away from receiving that. Like we've been trained to believe that being cynical is sophisticated. And that, as I said earlier, sarcasm is somehow intelligent. And if you're critical, that means you're being honest. There's nothing particularly honest or courageous about finding fault. Like, finding fault is easy. I'm going to say what's sophisticated, what's savvy, is seeing clearly enough to recognize what's good, what's valuable in someone or in a situation. And what's difficult is looking directly at another human being and saying, "This is what I respect about you," or "This is what I really appreciate about you. This is how your life has actually touched mine." And the only reason that we're not good at that is because we haven't done it. It feels vulnerable now. It feels like that somehow can be a risk to take. But that's real courage. And that's leadership, even if you're not in a leadership position. And that's why I think this moment resonated so deeply. Not because it was political, or it was a celebrity, or it was Michelle Obama talking about Barack Obama at all. But because for that moment, people saw something and felt something that's become so rare. A human being publicly and unapologetically speaking about the goodness they see in another human being. And something inside of us resonates with that. It's like, oh, yeah, and it feels good. And we want that because beneath all the noise, beneath the division, beneath all the outrage, that's who we really are. We are humans that are seeking the goodness within ourselves and within each other that we can connect with. We're not the sarcasm and the cynicism and the endless criticism. Like, that's all there. But those are often our wounds and the ways we've learned to defend ourselves, and it's become habitual. But looking for goodness and resonating with goodness can also become habitual. And underneath all of that critical patterning, human beings long to be loved and to love. Think about it. I mean, that's so basic. We all know it. We want to be valued and we want to value other people. We want to be seen and we want to be able to see somebody else. And I think that's why this moment landed, because it reminded us in such a prominent way of something that we already knew before we were trained out of feeling it and knowing it. And that is that we get to acknowledge the goodness. We get to say to people's faces, "This is what I appreciate about you," and let that stand and also receive it. So I'm going to offer you a practice this week if you're interested. Choose one person, just one, for the week. And instead of teasing them or correcting something or trying to fix something or point out what's wrong, find specific things that you admire about them and tell them. Tell them what they've done, why it means something to you, what it is that you appreciate. And then just watch what happens. And not just in them, but as you're sharing that information, as you're giving that acknowledgement, what happens in you? Because that ability to recognize goodness in other people in my experience, is one of the most important human capacities that we have. And actually, the science will back that up. Research is showing that it's the cultures and the individuals within cultures who actually connect in goodness and who collaborate. They're the ones that thrive. So, and if you want to check that out, you can go into the Greater Good Science Center and look at some of the research that they've done at UC Berkeley. And there's a lot more out there too. Anyway, if this resonated with you, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you'd like more conversations like this, where I'm going to say, look beneath the topical into what's really present in our human behavior and communication and relationships, then go ahead and subscribe so that you'll know when new clips come out. All right. Thanks for being here. Until next time, be well.